ありだけの想いはこれだけの言葉に愛しだけと思いはそれだけのことなの。
The setting of this book takes place in a place called New Beijing. It's kind of exactly like Beijing, except after a huge war against the world's powers. So it's actually more of a country, with the main city being Commonwealth. After the war, all of the world's powers formed an alliance between them. One of the events in the book is a festival that signifies a country living all together in peace. Since the city went through this war, it actually had to go through many reconstruction phases, turning the ground level area into a cramped maze of apartments and in one large market in which the main character works. Also, above the city is a large castle that has ever been since better constructed than the ground level city. Also, the setting is in the future where androids have been designed and are used for many daily chores and other tasks like cleaning, medical uses, and cooking. Cyborgs are also in this era, although they're considered to be lesser humans and are usually owned by someone, which in this case the main character is. The main character's name is Cinder, a 16-year-old cyborg who lives with her stepmother and two stepsisters, Peony and Pearl. In the story, she works for her stepmother in the marketplace as a mechanic. Since she's part cyborg, she's good at it, and many call her the best mechanic in New Beijing. She's portrayed as a tough person who doesn't really let anything bug her, like when her sisters were fitted with pretty dresses and she had to fix the hover car her stepmother ordered to. Her two friends include Aiko, an android with a glitchy personality chip that causes her to act like a normal teen, and Peony, Cinder's only human friend. That is, until she meets Prince Kai. Her description falls under this: a dark-haired girl with tan skin and two metal entities, her leg and her arm. Well, technically, she's almost completely cyborg eternally, silicon heart and everything, but the two metal platings that can be seen are her leg and her arm. Prince Kaido is actually serving as the love interest in this story, but he does play a huge role in the book. Of course, his name points to him being the Prince of Commonwealth and in extension New Beijing. Later on, he becomes the emperor and serves in his father's place when he dies of the plague. He first appears in the story when he brings in his broken android Nancy to Cinder. He's also the connection to the reader has the political side of the country. In the meetings he attends, you learn that many things that contribute to this story, although if I said any of them right now, they wouldn't actually make any sense. This character, Dr. Erland, is my personal favorite, and it may be because I have a liking for professor characters, but he's also a fun character. He's the head doctor in the palace, added he's the head of plague research in New Beijing. Later on in the story, you learn he's something called a lunar, and I'll elaborate more on that later. But when Cinder accused him of being a monster, he explained that he escaped the moon because they killed his daughter and he couldn't bear to be in the lunar colony any longer. Queen Levina is the lunar queen. Since she's a lunar, she glamours people so her image is intensely beautiful, instead of her imperfect face underneath. She rules fiercely over the moon colony, and because her citizens are constantly being brainwashed into believing that the government is perfect, there are no outbreaks or wars, which she loves to brag about as she tried to get Prince Kai to marry her. She's the #1 villain in the story, and she's not above killing anyone who stands in her way. Basically, she plans to marry Kai and then start wars on Earth, and eventually gain control over Earth as well as the moon. The plague is a disease called lenomosis. It started back when the lunars first came to Earth, causing an outbreak amongst the humans, like the same scenarios that happened with the explorers from Europe coming to America and then infecting the Native Americans with a disease that didn't affect them but caused many to die. The plague has ravaged the entire world and it's highly contagious. Cinder's sister Peony actually catches the plague at one point, and it's probably the saddest moment in the entire book. Well, the plague is the huge subplot, seeing as without it, Cinder wouldn't really be called from her home to be tested on, and therefore would have never had a connection to Prince Kai, apart from the market, and so the whole story would just be a cyborg running away from home. Another conflict in the story is Cinder being a cyborg. Cyborgs are considered lesser humans and they should give up their lives to save humans. That's what started the cyborg draft anyways. When her stepmother gave her away to the cyborg draft, she says the reason was to find a cure for Peony, although it's really clear that she wanted Cinder dead and that was it. Cinder is constantly hiding her cyborg parts so that the Prince Kai did not find out, and also others didn't see her and shun her from the society she lived in. Lunars. Okay, I talked about them a lot without discussing them in depth yet. Lunars started out as a colony of humans who were sent up to live on the moon. After many years, these people evolved from humans to aliens, I guess. The race has this ability to alter bioelectricity that everyone possesses, and by doing that, they can alter emotions, actions, and how other people see them. So in other words, brainwashing everyone. So, the Lunars themselves are not the problem as much as their queen. I'm sure if everyone else was queen, it would have been worse, but only Levina was a problem because she insisted on marrying Prince Kai in order to take control and then wage war on the rest of the world. Then she'll be in control of the world and the moon. Great plan, of course. But then there's this heir of the throne, Princess Celine. It's said that Queen Levina burned down the nursery and killed her, and there were even traces of flesh inside of the nursery. It makes sense that Cinder should be the rightful heir to the throne since she's a cyborg and lunar, and that's the only way that she would have survived the fire. The rising action is probably when Cinder receives a call from this thing called a decom chip. The call was from this panicked girl calling her because she admitted she hacked into the palace's android, Nancy, for Queen Levina, and now since the queen knows he was searching for the lost princess, she can account for treason and use it against him to take over Earth by killing him. Cinder dresses in her dead sister's ball gown and hurries to the ball to give Prince Kai this information, and when she does, the queen finds out about her doing so, and then tells Prince Kai about her being lunar. After the confrontation, Cinder sees how imperfect the queen actually is. The queen's response was to alter her bioelectricity to make her hold a gun to her head. The ordeal ends with Cinder's circuits fusing out and Prince Kai deciding between marrying Queen Levina or saving Cinder, or not marrying and letting Cinder die. Killing Cinder was an obvious choice, although he asked to let her stay in the palace's prison for one night longer. The following action is when Cinder is placed in the jail cell where Dr. Erling comes in and gives her the information that she is the rightful heir to the lunar throne. Along with that, he gives her extremely new cyborg limbs that come with knives, lock-picking tools, and other things that would help her escape from prison, which he urges her to do. He created the cyborg draft so he could find the heir to the throne, not actually find a cure. After he left telling Cinder that the world was resting on her shoulders, she decided that he was right, and escaping him to Africa was the best idea than just dying. She cuts the ID chip out of her wrist, which is a metal chip put in people's wrists to identify them and keep their money. And then that's when the story ends, because the book is actually in a trilogy called The Lunar Chronicles, and the second part is in Scarlet.